Hello, my dear viewers and wonderful people around the world. So, welcome to another video in this small channel. It's been a long time since I have made a video. I had lots of due to my personal reasons and my ongoing career, focusing on career, I couldn't do much videos. So, it's a small video which focus mostly on the term which that you can see in your screen right now, sustainable tourism. So I'm going to talk about what is the actual thing and why it is a big matter right now. So first of all, you can see sustainable tourism. In this small video we'll talk about what actually it means and what are the three pillars and smart choices, how we can travel and how we should not be traveling, by the way, right? So in this thing I'm just gonna show this idea map, and first we'll talk about the entire definition of the term tourism in a nutshell. As you can see, sorry, pardon me, I'm going to talk about sustainable tourism. So, according to UNWTO, the main definition of the term sustainable tourism is a tourism that takes full account of its current and future economic, social, and environmental impacts, meeting the needs of visitors, the industry, the environment, as host community all at once. It means that it's a type of tourism which does not focus on one key area. It's a type of tourism that talks about meeting the needs of the present and the future. Actually, sustainable tourism definition has been taken from the sustainable development definition, which was part of the report, or also known as the Brundtland Report 1987, which talks about that report named as Our Common Future. So, sustainable tourism talks that a tourism that does not only focus on economy or does not only focus on environment, but altogether in which tourists are happy. The industry here, as we speak, is called the tourism industry or the people who are service providing. And if you are part of a tourism student or graduate, you can say that there's tourism can be classified into two. One is the demand section, one is the supply section. Demand is the person who wants the services. Supply section are part of people who provide services for the people who wants it, right? So in which, in plain English, a travel that lets a place stay beautiful, livable, and welcoming, not just for the trip, but also for the next 100 years of travelers and people who call it home. So, generally we speak, this is a tourism which does not focus as a mass tourism or a conventional tourism. A conventional tourism is what everybody do normally. For example, if you go to Agra, you just go and you see that when you hear the term Agra, your mind goes to Taj Mahal. So the same travel package, same thing, what all people have done so far, you're doing it casually, but doing in such a way that you don't talk to people, you don't talk to you don't know the history, you travel irresponsibly. That kind of thing falls under conventional tourism, which is harmful for the area, as well as you don't get that feeling right now. Right. So sustainable tourism tries to solve these problems. So why it matters? Because right now, as we speak, why sustainable tourism has been a part of it. 8% of the entire global carbon emission comes from tourism. Because when you go to a place, like your ecological footprint or a carbon footprint means how much carbon you emit when you travel to a place. When you're using a normal car which is used by any type of fossil fuel, you're going there and you are staying in a car, you're turning on the AC and you are parking in some destinations, and the amount of heat is emitting that affects the environment. And how we choose a transport, if you are choosing own car or own bike through which to travel somewhere, if it can be a natural area or it can be any part of cultural area, etc. When you try to disrupt the entire piece, this affects the global carbon emission. Right now, as in this is year 2026, we have super El Nino happening. The main problem is overheating, climate change, everything comes. So tourism also has a major part in it. And you can see 1.5 billion international tourist arrivals are recorded in 2019 have consecutive growth because people are after COVID. Before COVID means people were traveling, but after COVID, people has a thought that we only live once and we will die any soon, any time. So that focus went into the tourism and people started traveling more. Traveling more means using more type of transportation, more development, okay, fine, but on one side it affects the entire global carbon emission, and 75% of tourism emission comes from flying as a single factor. As why? Because more fossil fuels, more things, it overall affects the environment, right? And this is the three pillar of sustainable tourism. So sustainable tourism talks about how we can save the environment, how we can help the community, and how at the same time we get proper income, right? So here you can see that environmental sustainability talks about protecting ecosystem, cutting pollution, waste, using natural resources, which means using environment-friendly processes. Social culture talks about how to respect for a certain area. Like if you are going to a destination which has a certain cultural heritage, we don't destroy it. I have seen, or we have seen, people who are general tourists who go to a place who dance, uh, they doesn't dance, or they try to eat publicly, they smile, or they try to disrupt the entire peaceful community thing of a certain community, which is going negatively, goes negatively to tourism. So this thing is also like tourism that focus on environment, at the same time focusing on socio-cultural phenomena, and through which you get proper long-term income generation, through which tourism leads to employment, betterment of society. At the same time, all these three come together. So these three are part of sustainable tourism. But in a general tourism, normally mostly focus on economic. They will exploit natural resources for economic benefit. But at the same time, the main problem is when you exploit more for temporary gains, in future point of view, you don't get it back. And mostly conventional tourism destroys most of the destination's beauty, right? And in flip side, over tourism is a main place you can see. Over tourism was there. Like, what do you mean by over tourism? Means when everything goes too much. Over tourism and under tourism is there, different concepts. Over tourism means when a certain place has more number of people coming, it's like you don't get that feeling when you go there. Like it's too much rush, too much area, people are going in groups, that area will be disrupted. The over tourism happens when the visit numbers outpace the destination, infrastructure, environment, and resident quality of life. Resident quality of life means the people who are living there are fed up of tourists. You might be experiencing, if you are a resident near to a certain destination, you can feel people going and people disrupting. Actually, like if you look at Indian point of view, we are going to different countries and we are trying to disrupt their peace and etc. So this is what the slide showing, that when a place gets loved to death, right? And how the tourism footprint comes from. We were talking about the carbon footprint, how much tourism affects conventional tourism, and most number of carbon emissions, entire problem that affecting the environment comes from transport only. And transport means using using don't not using less carbon emitting or electronic vehicles or other common prospects, which focus fully on using fossil fuel transport, and flying is the biggest alone in whole world, you can see, right? And how we can cut short. Sustainable tourism talks about a smarter choice. Sustainable tourism means you have to be responsible. The change starts from you. The person who is watching this video and is who's planning to go somewhere, first change starts from yourself only. So when you go to a destination, when you try to choose trains or buses over long, short haul flights, which will be public transport. When you go for public transportation, less fuel consumption, less thing, and more benefit to the environment. And going not staying longer, travel less often, etc. And these are generally, but in a general point of view, when you don't use too much on on your fuel or etc. When you try to minimize everything, use greener options, use only eco-friendly products. When you go to a destination, when you try to use eco-friendly products, when you don't try to disrupt the peace of the destination, these three things will help you gain more experience, and people will be happy with tourists also, right? And how you engage. Normally, a general tourist and a responsible tourist. Okay, in which one more thing is there. It's called responsible tourism. Responsible tourism is when you go to a certain place with the knowledge. It is different from a person who is going without a knowledge. Like you have seen like people uh, choosing the area without understanding. If you know the history, then it'll be much more better for your travel. Without going anything, without having, without does not having any uh, deep knowledge, will definitely don't give you satisfaction, because tourist satisfaction is a key in tourism. Without tourist experience or positive uh, about the behavior, tourism cannot move forward. So when you pick something, if you don't choose traditional five-star hotels and you try to sleep within a certain budgetary accommodation, or try to sleep, be a part of a certain community, live in a destination, you can may feel much more. When you try to eat in restaurants which are local in nature and not going for a five-star hotel or like a chain restaurant, you can feel the natural cuisines. When you try to talk to people, when you try to be part of them, there you can experience more. And these things are what sustainable tourism tries to highlight. And how to know, like there are different certifications for sustainable tourism. If you go to certain places, there is something called as blue flag beaches which are tagged by the Federation of Environment Education, which is a Netherlands based company which talks that, which gives certification for beaches for quality and quantity. And in India there are 18 blue flag beaches. And Green Key talks about hotels which are eco label, which have eco label means which are using solar power, which are reducing more carbon emissions and helping the society at the same time, giving that feel. Okay, GSTC is global standards for tourism, global sustainable tourism council, and tourism council, which talks about, it gives certification to certain things. Actually, GSTC is a global institution that talks about sustainability, and in different parts of India also, GSTC is a major role. So these are certifications which talks about the idea, which shows you that certain area is part, is following sustainable tourism practice, or it's part of sustainability. And how as a traveler, how we can be responsible and we can enjoy sustainable, avoid using single-use plastic. These six guidelines are mostly just for you only. How to pack a reusable bottle. Single-use plastic bottles are what bottles as you see, like water bottles. Water bottles are there, small bottles, and beverage drinks, I should speak, are single-use plastic which cannot be used again. And check what is happening, leave your reviews, stick to things, book at least one local owned stay or tour, be with the community, then only you can enjoy. Otherwise, if you go to certain things and see what is happening, what see in a general static itinerary, you don't get the idea. So these six things are common things. If you can follow, then you are a responsible tourist, through which you are supporting sustainable tourism. And these three checklists will be there for you. And if this thing is happening, sustainable tourism, it's isn't about traveling less, it's about traveling with the intention. So places when you go there, you feel loved. You are part of a person, part of a society. Then you can